AITA for suing my ex and her boyfriend. My ex and I divorced 3 years ago. She was cheating, but at this point I don't care about the relationship anymore. The pending lawsuit has nothing to do with her or him, but rather their actions. My ex and I have a son 13 meters that we split time with 50-50. He's a great kid that interests have changed a lot tbh, as I imagine more kids teenagers tend to do through the years. One thing my son was heavily into at some point was Legos. He used to play with them all the time, and personally I think they're a great toy for different reasons. I used to love playing them with him, and to this day I still collect boxes that I leave unopened as a collection. Well, my ex and I divorced. She got with someone who loved Legos more, I guess. From what I know, he loves making creations and building the sets in. I don't care. Seems cool. He does one thing I think is very weird. He uses crazy glue so the sets can't break or pieces can't be lost. It seems so weird to me. The issue is, I was out of town for all of 3 days last week for medical reasons, and my son wanted to get his PS4 so he could play it at his mom's. This isn't out of the ordinary at all, and he has a key, so he let me know he would be stopping over for it. I told him to have fun when I saw him on the entry camera. My wife's husband was with him, which was a no-no. I told him via speaker to not go in and to wait on the porch. He flinched but walked in anyway. I sent my ex a text telling her to call him and tell him he's 1 minute away from a cop call. He left my home with a bag in hand, which I didn't think much of because my son had his games too. Well, my son texted me later that evening and said he didn't know it at the time, but he's pretty sure SD took some of my sets. These are all old sets and 2 are worth big money. When I got home I confirmed the missing sets and called my ex. She had no idea, but he admitted he took them, but it was so son could have the sets to complete his collection. My son doesn't even like Legos anymore and told his mom he wouldn't steal from me. My wife asked how much it would cost to replace them, and unfortunately it's more than their savings. Actually, it would take their house down payment plus more. I told them if they didn't pay in 2 weeks I was suing and pressing charges. The price in the sets makes it a felony. My ex and her husband are saving for a house which would give my son more space when he's there, but those sets were going to help pay for his education someday or a home of his own. I filed the police report and have talked to a lawyer, and we're moving forward with the suit. Everyone is calling me a joke because they are just toys, but I don't get it. They are worth real money. I'm not rich, guys. I needed those to help with my son's future. But again, taking this money does deny my son things at his mom's house. AITA here? Edit. I've been asked to add these facts. The sets have been opened, which more than half their worth, and one was glued together. The damage was done already. The stolen items are King's Castle Milk Truck Lego Land Train Carousel, and the glued one was a Star Wars Snow Speeder. Some of these are one piece of a larger set. So if you lose one of 5, you lose the value of one produced plus the value of the set as a whole. Second edit. Ex-wife and boyfriend are the same as ex-boyfriend. I'm just a bad writer. Third final edit for this post. I know I haven't been here much, but I have read many of your comments and taken them to heart. I know my spelling is poor, guys, and I apologize for the format. Calling me names in my private message was not called for, and I am not a scalper. I enjoy buying these sets and do not intend to sell all of them, but I want my son to go to college and not worry about debt, so I want to sell the ones that I can to help. I never had the smarts for higher education, but my son is not me, and I love him and want him to do better. Around 4 p.m. I called the local state police and met at their facility. I gave them all I had and gave my statement. My son is with me starting tonight, so when I picked him up I sent him into GameStop and called his mom. I told her I had filed charges and I asked the cop to call me when everything was done so I could give him the opportunity to turn himself in. I wanted to be better than he treated me. I'll save her reaction for a real update. BTW. Can someone please tell me how to update, because I don't really understand the steps in the main notes. I told my son when we got home what I did and why. My son said that I did the right thing because he didn't want his stepdad to think it was okay to do it again. And if he didn't go to jail he'd rather be her away from him so it isn't weird. Update removed, only screenshots recovered. I apologize. I'm not the best at Reddit, and I guess the moderators at AITA deleted my update. If you have any follow-up questions I'll try my best to answer you, though it could take some time. I have received a few requests regarding posting an update, and I did promise to update the situation once it was resolved, and as far as I have any say, the headache is over for the most part. I can't say that I feel whole, but am not angry about it, as I think the consequences are something to respect. I read through most of the comments and really appreciate the time most of you took out of your day to offer advice and well wishes. I know I didn't respond to all of them, but your time and care were noticed. I accept all your judgments, but I must say your kindness blew me away while some took time out of their day just to be mean, which is on you, I guess. I understand Legos are toys, but I enjoy the hunt and it's worth it to me. As I said, I decided to go to the police with the video, my statement, texts from my ex, and emails. I told the police I wanted this pursued as he had entered my house after being told not to and stole valuables. They took everything I had to offer, and as of yesterday my ex's BF was arrested for a few different violations laws. He was charged with grand larceny and breaking and entering among a few other charges. My ex is really upset at me, and him, however she bailed him out, so I'm guessing she isn't too upset with him. Ex's boyfriend has called a few times and showed up once. He left the used sets on my porch, and I'm not sure what he thinks that does at this stage. They aren't worthless, but their value is less than half. I told my lawyer he did this and she was blown away. I sent an email to my ex telling her and him to stay away from me and my home, and I only wanted to hear from her if it was concerning our child. This was his first offense to my knowledge, so I don't expect him to do jail time. However, my lawyer said it was possible due to the amount of crimes and how they took place. Apparently doing that during the day is worse, and he did it in front of my child, which doesn't help him. I expect a leg day probation TBH with all of you, but I'm very far from a legal expert. I spoke to the lawyer on Tuesday this week regarding the loss, and unfortunately I'm looking at a tough road ahead of me. The pieces stolen are valued at what they sell at auction, which the local DA will decide which auctions are reputable. So, that could go different ways. Moreover, the fact the boyfriend broke up my sets were irrelevant. The lawyer said it would be like stealing one baseball card out of an entire set and burning it. You are only owed the value of that one card even if you can't get that one card again. The fact he returned them is an admission of guilt, she said, and that we could definitely reclaim the amount of money an unopened set for each would be worth, but it doesn't make the matter better in my opinion. I know a lot of you thought 10-20K wasn't nearly enough for a house down payment, but in my neck of the woods it's plenty, and my lawyer recommended we go forward with a civil suit and I agreed. With that and the legal charges, I feel that is well enough. I will have enough in savings and Lego stock lol to fund his 4 years at a good state school. I wish I could do more, but you can't win them all. My son has been staying with me full time as he feels it's awkward at his mom's, and he's pretty upset at his mom about the whole thing, but I'm trying to smooth that over best I can considering the circumstances. He's asked to stay here full time, which I support, and told his mom as much. I told her we could do it through the courts or keep it simple, and I think she wants to keep it simple. I haven't thought much about child support, but I don't think asking for a small amount would be bad. I don't want to break my ex, but our kid should come first. Thank you to everyone for their well wishes and thoughts. Best of luck to everyone out there. Again, if you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. I am not the OOP. Story 2. Struggling to deal with my WS being a perfect partner during reconciliation. She is literally doing everything right after her EA, and I mean everything. Being open and honest. Being understanding when I'm having an emotional outburst. When I tell her about my interests and things I want to do, she actively tries to engage in these activities with me and have a good time. Willing to try more new things in the bedroom. Understands my love language and shows affection in that manner. Now you would think that this would make me happy and that I'd be over the moon, and for the most part I am very happy with the progress of the relationship, but there are times when I am frustrated because she only began doing these things after her confession. She would rarely do any of this before the EA, and it makes me question why she is doing these kind things. Has anyone dealt with something like this? I'm trying very hard to focus on all the positives, but I am struggling with this, and I'm worried this will cause me to feel resentful towards her, and she doesn't deserve that after the work she has put in during reconciliation. Update: want to do something nice for my WS but don't know what to do. My WS in the 5 months since her confession of her EA has done everything right and has really done everything I have asked of her, and despite my poor attitude and clear frustration towards her and overall me being a bit difficult to be with these past 5 months, she has still stood by my side. In my previous post I asked this community for advice on how to deal with my feelings over a particular part of our reconciliation, and that proved very helpful, and I really appreciated the perspective that BS and WS shared. This led to me and my WS having a deep conversation about the issue, and she expressed that the reason behind her desire to now be a perfect partner was because she realized that prior to her EA she was not a great partner, and the EA was the icing on top of the poop cake that she made. She made a promise to herself that no matter what happens in her life, she wants to put her best foot forward to not only fix the relationship but put the relationship in a better place than it was before, because according to her, I deserve someone who is 110% committed to this relationship. This has really helped me understand her behavior and her reaction to her own affair and our reconciliation. So, if she is going to put her 110% effort forward, I better do so as well. This is where I kinda need some advice. She has been having a bit of a rough few days, so I want to do something nice for her to show her that I really appreciate her efforts in the relationship and that we will get through this together. I would really appreciate if some BSWS could share some ideas on how I could someone nice towards my WS to show my appreciation towards her. Update: she cries when I'm not looking. Me and my WS were supposed to go out on a fancy dinner date 2 nights ago after I got home from work. Normally I get home around 6. So the plan was for her to get ready for our date and I would come and pick her up and we would have a nice night out. I was able to wrap up my work an hour early, so I went and bought some flowers as a little surprise because she expressed in CC that she loves when I get her gifts. But when I got home I saw her crying in our bedroom whilst in lingerie. She tried to brush it off and say that it was nothing. I told her we were not going to dinner unless she would tell me what's wrong. She then went on and explained that she was crying because when she was making herself look S-timey for me that night, it triggered her because during her EA her AP would always say that I never found her S-timey and he would constantly want her to send him S-timey pictures, but she would constantly turn him down, but he was really pushy about this. And while she was looking at herself in the mirror she felt gross and couldn't really feel S-timey anymore. She then told me that this happens quite a lot actually. Her crying by herself due to her triggers because she didn't want to burden me with her own emotions and that she doesn't feel like she can express these emotions because she caused this to herself. I explained to her that I want her to be emotional with me and that I want her to be able to be forward with her emotions and not worry about burdening me with her emotions, because we are trying to build a relationship where we are always honest with one another and are willing to be there for each other no matter what. We chose not to go out and instead stay home and make a home-cooked dinner instead, and then had some very emotional time afterwards. I am currently taking a break from work and wanted to ask, how often do WS on this sub get triggers from their own affair, and do the WS tell their BS or try to deal with it by themselves? I would also appreciate if some WS could help me show her that she can be more vulnerable with me and that I want her to express how she is feeling to me. Story 3. My GFF 25 of 4 years and I am 24 both tested positive for chlamydia and I don't know how to handle the situation. Had to do a health checkup on my nether region recently and part of it was to give a urine test for chlamydia. It came back positive. Of course my girlfriend took a test as well. It also came back positive. We are both asymptomatic. Here's the thing, this shouldn't be possible. We are both each other's first time partner, even first kiss. We've been together for 4 years. I have never cheated and I'm 99.99% sure she's never cheated either. For one, she's not socially active at all and extremely monogamous. But I also can't imagine when she would be able to cheat logistically, since we spend almost every waking hour together and have been for the last 4 years. None of us have ever used a second-hand time toy. None of us has gotten a blood transfusion. Given the situation, it should be impossible for us to contract chlamydia, but somehow we did. Has anyone been in a similar situation? How did you handle it? Did you ever figure out how you contracted it? Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1. Doc here, given the circumstances presented, you can pretty much only get it through time contact. One of you has strayed or contracted it before the relationship. For her, she really needs to see a GYN and be worked up carefully. If she has indeed had chlamydia for years asymptomatic, she could have long-term issues from it going untreated, including infertility. This is pretty serious. Redditor follow-up. What about syphilis? I have a friend in a similar situation where she's claiming no one cheated and I'm skeptical. Redditor 2. I look forward to the big reveal. Redditor 3. Logically it points to one of two things. If you're telling the truth about never having cheated. 1. You were not in fact her first and she's been asymptomatic the entire 4 years. 2. She's cheated on you. I'm inclined to go with option 1. If you're confident she hasn't cheated, are you confident she didn't lie about being a virgin to make herself seem more appealing to you, another virgin at the time? Someone's been deceptive somewhere down the line. If it wasn't you, it was her. Redditor follow up. Yes, this seems most likely to me, though one small part of me can think of a really awful explanation, which I would hope was just a flight of fancy. Update. My GFF 25 of 4 years and I am 24 both tested positive for chlamydia and I don't know how to handle the situation. Well, I now know how I got chlamydia. I got a lot more comments than I expected on my previous post, most of them saying I should snap out of the delusion. But also some alternative suggestions of how it might have happened. People suggested that she might have lied about me being her first. At first I didn't think this could be it as we are both very feminist and progressive generally, so it didn't feel like something she'd lie about. We are not religious either. But who knows, we had only known each other for about a year when we got together and maybe she got freaked out. Some people also suggested she might not see OL as losing virginity, but we both do. The other possibility that seemed likely was that she had been sexually assaulted and either don't remember or didn't want to tell me. Anyway, after work I stopped by a youth clinic and did a new test just to make sure, as someone suggested. When I got home I spent the evening trying to figure out how best to ask her about these possibilities. I'm either suggesting she might have lied to me or possibly bringing up trauma, so I wanted to make sure I did it in the best way possible. But I won't have to worry about that anymore. Reveal here. Luckily she hasn't been sexually assaulted and unfortunately she didn't lie to me about being a virgin. The morning my last post I was eating breakfast and watching YouTube on our shared iPad like I usually do. I remembered that the iPad is logged into her Snap account. Just to make sure, I checked. If she's cheating, surely Snap would be where she's talking to this guy, right? Didn't see any unfamiliar names. I did however see that she had an unread message from my best friend's GFF23. I don't know why but I checked it. Gonna get tested today. At first I thought that they had just discussed it, they are friends after all, and she had decided to get tested as well. But I scrolled up and saw the conversation they had yesterday and well, I got cheated on. My GF woke up 5 minutes later and immediately asked me what was wrong. She said I looked pale. I sincerely apologized. Going through her private messages is not okay after all and told her what I had seen. She came clean immediately. My best friend's GF had only ever been with men, and my GF had only ever been with me. Apparently, they were both questioning if they were bi. So, while my best friend M24 and I were at the gym, they were hanging out at my best friend's place like they usually do. That day the curiosity got the best of them and they had time. This was last year and she assures me it hasn't happened since and won't happen again. I'm not really sure how to feel right now. I always imagined that if I got cheated on I'd feel crushed, but I'm surprisingly neutral over it all. I don't know. My biggest worry right now is how I'm gonna tell my best friend about it. They've been together for almost 2 years and his New Year's resolution this year was to propose to her. He's gonna be crushed and I hate to think about it. We're going to the gym after work today, so I'll tell him then. Just need to figure out how. One question I got a lot and I want to answer is why I got tested in the first place if I was asymptomatic. The reason I was doing a checkup is kind of embarrassing, but I had noticed an unfamiliar lump on one of my testicles and just wanted to make sure it wasn't cancer or something. When done with the checkup, the nurse told me everything seemed fine and then asked if I wanted to do a urine test for chlamydia. I don't know if it's standard procedure or if she just thought might as well do it. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1. As a bisexual woman. Cheating is cheating. Redditor follow-up. Bisexual here and have a life history of never cheating on my partners. Just because I'm not container-driven doesn't mean I need to open every jar as they become available. Redditor 2. So silly questions? Your best friend and his GF are in a monogamous relationship for 2 years and he plans to propose, so 90% he is not cheating. How did the GF has clams and have gone undiagnosed for so long? It's been 1 year since the deed and all 4 people have clams without any symptoms? Redditor follow-up. This. Either best friend's girlfriend been getting around or his girlfriend has. I'm questioning how being feminist and non-religious mean you wouldn't lie? Redditor 3. I'm not sure if you're feeling neutral because it was another woman, but be aware that it may hit you hard later. Especially when you say it out loud with your friend, and how he may react. It'll also be a mistake to allow yourself, and especially your GF, to write this off as a one-time experiment. She was sexually intimate with someone else, planned it through all of the choices and decisions and has lied by omission ever since. This is now part of your history with her, your future and relationship. You have to view this as a huge breach of trust. To not do so is simply setting yourself up for further hurt and showing her that there are no consequences to betrayal. Good luck with talking to your friend and remember that you'll also need support. Redditor follow up. And she didn't use protection, giving up an STD in the process. She literally willingly endangered his health because she was bored one day. What a disgusting person. Who the hell does that?